Now, live, this is CBS 4 News at 6.
Off the top at 6, you can't pump gas without electricity. We learned that the hard way after Hurricane Wilma with long lines and frustration. Well, tonight, CBS 4 uncovers the truth about gas stations which are not complying with a law meant to prevent it from happening again. You see, that law requires many Florida gas stations to have generators hooked up that would keep those pumps running even if the power goes out.
But it turns out that many of those gas stations are still unprepared. And even worse, the law was not being enforced at any gas station here in South Florida. CBS 4's consumer investigator Al Sunshine joins us now with this exclusive. And Al, even the governor was surprised to hear this from us, right?
Beatrice, the words out of the governor's mouth when I first told him was, "I am gravely concerned." And hey, take a look at this. This is the report that is basically detailed the state's emergency generator program. It was released back in March. But tonight, state officials have basically thrown it out and admit they missed more than 1,300 gas stations in the heart of the state's hottest hurricane strike zones.
It was a disaster. It was really bad. It was, you know, the worst I ever seen.
Remember this, it happened after Hurricane Wilma. Power lines knocked down, local gas stations knocked out of business, no electricity, no way to pump gas, lines stretching for blocks, even miles.
People were like animals, everybody trying to get in through one side, had it all closed, lines like probably more than 5-6 blocks down.
And that's why, starting this year's hurricane season, Florida lawmakers required all primary evacuation gas stations and another 310 wholesale distributors statewide install emergency power systems. The problem? It hasn't happened. The state mismanaged the program, and most gas stations ignored it for being too confusing. And making matters even worse, the way the law was being enforced, gas stations from the Florida Keys all the way up to Fort Pierce were not required to have generators. You heard me right. Some of the most densely populated areas of the state, West Palm Beach, Miami-Dade County, Broward County, the Florida Keys, areas most likely hit by bad storms, not required by the state to have emergency generators or backup power systems at all. So how'd we find out? After checking out this report on gas station readiness put out in March. And the more I looked into it, the more we realized there were no stations in the entire southern half of the state. I took our findings to Governor Charlie Crist.
I have great concerns, and I want to credit you, Al Sunshine, and CBS 4 for doing great work to bring this to light. It's very important. It really is.
So what went wrong? Well, Florida's Department of Environmental Protection, which administers the law, blamed it on, quote, a computer programming problem. And now the governor is demanding answers how the agency missed so many gas stations.
I've directed our staff, as a result of your story, to write letters to each of those stations that are on the evacuation routes. And this is a life-saving measure. This is not a convenience. This is for the life, health, safety, and welfare of our people. So we're on it now.
The agency's now warning another 1,300 gas stations statewide get emergency power up and running by June 1st or potentially face up to 60 days in jail.
And for those stations that don't do it, we'll take them to court.
But despite the new state crackdown, most local dealers still don't even know their company's emergency plans.
Do you have a transfer switch wired up in the back?
There are going to be certain sites that are going to have those with the hook generators that are just going to be hooked up to that.
Do you know if you even have them?
We don't know which sites are going to have them.
Still, some local dealers are getting ready on their own. Max Alvarez installed the $65,000 emergency power system at his South Miami station.
As a member of the Florida Petroleum Marketers, we have definitely been preaching, and we've been trying to train all of the members of the association in being ready.
And the Turnpike Authority isn't taking any chances either. It's already spent $7 million, public money, to install generators at the Turnpike's 8 service plazas. But even if most other gas stations want to be ready by June 1st, it won't happen. That's because of all the permits, zoning approvals, basically all the bureaucratic red tape. Most businesses are now being told it could take as long as 6 months to legally install their backup power. Okay, do the math, 6 months. That's the end of hurricane season. And stuck in the middle of all of this, local residents like you and me.
Same thing will happen the year before with Wilma. Everybody's going to be frustrated.
Now, the state says it will aggressively enforce the June 1st emergency power law, but local prosecutors tell me it's still so vague, it's basically unenforceable. So what can we do about the problem? Well, the next time you fill up, ask about the station's emergency plans, and if they don't know, consider using one that does. I'm Al Sunshine, CBS 4 News.
So guys like Max Alvarez already have the generator, or not only avoid a potential fine, they're going to do the business if
That's right. They'll be the ones ready.
Well, absolutely. He knows that it's good business sense, it's good community sense, and he's even asking the same questions. They knew about this law since last year. Why didn't gas stations get ready for it?
And to think of how frustrating that was.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you, Al. Well, for the list of the Florida gas stations that are required to have generator hookups, all you have to do is go to our website, cbs4.com, and check out the consumer section.
Well, with hurricane season a little more than a week away, today the government...